Okay, we got to get started here. We got lots of on the plant forum today. We're having the guests of the California chapter of the American Rhododendron Society. So welcome everybody. And just a recap of our garden tour of Jeff and Charlotte's gardens on last month. When was it?
The 25th of August.
Yeah, so Jeff is going to do a vermiculture talk one of these sometime next year, and he showed us his worms right here in the middle there. And he lives in San Francisco, and he had a fairly steep front yard, which is just filled with all sorts of interesting, fun plants. And he said it originally was a lawn. I don't know how he was able to mow that, but anyway, then he showed us his gorilla garden, which is up in the right-hand corner there. And then his rock garden, which is a pile of rocks behind his back gate by the alley, which is just piled rocks in. I guess I don't know if he puts some soil in there also, Jeff.
It's a pile of rocks that I sifted out of the various beds in the yard. Every time I would put in a plant, I would sift out a few rocks and just kept on piling them up, and then decided to add a little irrigation and stick in a few plants just to see what would happen. And it's become a really fun spot.
Oh, neat. Yeah. And then we went to Charlotte's garden, or some people did it vice versa. We had a fair amount of people, so we had split them. And she had this gorgeous Bomaria from Chile that was in the front yard, and then a little guy with a bromeliad hat and a Spanish shawl.
Valencia usinoides.
Yeah, what's its common name?
Oh, I guess it's sometimes referred to as Spanish moss.
Moss. Okay, yes, Spanish moss. Hair, and then
people also say that for lichen, and it's they're two different things.
And then take note of the plant in the far left bottom corner. That's what her Neomeria, how do you pronounce that? Neomerica looked like when we were there, but evidently has cycles of bloom. Some pictures of that when it's in full bloom, which is, I guess, blooming again now, right? We just missed it.
Oh, it only lasts a day. So, it happened a couple of days before the tour. It happened a couple of days after the tour. Happened a couple of days ago.
Which Neomerica, Charlotte?
It's the blue one, or blue purple one.
Okay, so I want to thank everybody for submitting to the plant forum. It always makes it more interesting, more participants we have. Jeffrey, Lorena, Kristen, Mark, Janet, Judy, Michael Crabe, and Charlotte. Thank you guys so much. And everybody who contributes verbally, and it always makes for a nice discussion. So here's Jeffrey's Fokia. I don't know how to pronounce that. You want to talk about your Fokia that you brought to the live meeting last month?
Yeah, I'll tell you, I brought it in the house right now. It probably has hundreds of blooms on it, and I never realized that it has a scent.
Oh, it has a scent.
It's always been outdoors. And the scent just came on about an hour ago.
Wow.
And it's very potent. It's probably a scent that I will put back outside.
What do you think it's attracting? Flies then?
No, it's not a carrion type of a scent. It's just it's not that it's unpleasant. It's so potent.
Oh, it's too much. Oh.
Yes. I have I don't know, 10 different named species of Hoyas, and on occasion some of them can be overpowering. But this little guy that I'm holding there with my fingers, it's tiny. And it's amazing. I got the plant because it looked sad when I got it.
And it looks cool now.
Yeah, I've had it over, I'm guessing 30 years. So that's it.
But you were looking for a species variety, right?
Well, other people are. I mean, I would like to know it, so if I make a tag, I can put it on it. I just like plants, and I grow plants. Where they came from and their names and who they are, don't. My brain doesn't remember that stuff, and maybe it doesn't need to.
I was looking it up, and there's like tons of species. Edulis, capensis, multiflora, angustifolia, Cameru. I'm thinking, oh, what do those mean? And
I know when
in English,
bouncing around those emails, somebody said if they saw the flower, they might be able to, identify it more so, but whatever, I'm happy with it.
Do you belong to either the Asclepiad group in Facebook, or there's also one called Apocynaceae? They might be able to identify it for you.
Oh, I don't belong to anything.
Oh, well, I find Facebook is really good for plant knowledge.
Huh. Huh.
Just sharing. I know a lot of people have an aversion to it, but for plant people, it's really a good source.
Well, maybe someone can post it for you, Jeffrey, and see if they can ID it.
But now I have a tag, all these years I had no tags. So, now I know what it is.
It goes in the Fokia flock, right?
Yeah. But anyway,
Jeffrey,
it's
does the scent remind you of anything that you've smelled before? I mean,
no, it's totally,
sweet.
hold on, let me get closer to it again. You don't even have to get close to it, but at first when it came on, I had no idea it was coming from it because it'd been in the house since this morning. I wanted to bring it in, and to see if I was going to be able to connect to this, because I don't know computers too well at all. And then, like I say, it just came on within the last hour. And at first I thought I had some Hoya blooming somewhere in the house. There isn't. There's Hoya's
So
come
sweet.
it will come on over tonight and smell it. I don't know.
Okay,
Sorry, Jeffrey.
we're gonna move on here. Okay, so
Okay.
Kristen, you're up.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I've been playing around this year with, it's very interesting how you evolve as a gardener. And I realized that the Mirabilis jalapas are pretty interesting. They are granted only start blooming around, not really 4 o'clock. It's later, I'm sure, because they weren't blooming at 4 o'clock today, but they are blooming in the morning when I go out there, and they bloom even in this horrible heat we've been having. And as you see, my mother grew them. Of course, in New Jersey, they didn't survive the winter, but nevertheless, they survive the winter here. The tubers get huge. I'm pretty sure the gophers don't eat them. I don't have gophers, but they're in the Solanum family. And my guess is they don't. And now I'm just moving the tubers around because the one to the right, which is a very dark fuchsia, is very aggressive. And I just introduced this apricot one. It's not quite the color. My camera didn't get the color exactly right. It's a little yellower, but I love that color. I call it pale coral. And I grew a lot of those from seed, and I'm going to bring some to the Cal Hort meeting because I can't throw anything out I've grown. And then I have these yellow ones. They're really very good late summer plants if you water your garden. Just sharing.
Okay.
And they're
would
fragrant
put
at night.
a picture in, Kristen, but I also took a picture of the one that from the seedlings you brought last month, and it's in bloom now.
You did?
Yeah.
Yeah, you'll see
Oh.
another picture, so that might have the color better.
Yeah.
Good. I'm excited to see it.
I actually have a yellow one that comes up in an unwatered area next to my agave parrii, actually. And it comes up every year and blooms. So it
Okay,
doesn't
but where do
necessarily
you
need
live?
much, if any water at all.
Where do you live?
Campbell, which is darn hot.
So Campbell is south of San Jose, right?
Yes, it's South San Jose, and it gets quite hot here.
I mean, did you see 110 the last last heat wave?
Oh yeah.
Maybe I have to try. I'm trying and trying. They grow in the shade pretty well, and I'm trying. So I'll let you know next year what I think. I'm going to try.
Mine gets pretty much full sun. Like you said, it's right next to an agave parrii. So,
But you don't water the agave parrii at all, apparently, right?
no,
Interesting.
I
Okay.
just as soon keep the agave parrii from getting too huge, so I don't water it.
Yeah.
Mm.
Well, by the way, with the agave parrii that I figured out, I wanted to have just a single rosette
Yeah.
in my succulent bed, and I kept cutting off all the pups that came on, because that's what it does.
Mm-hmm.
And it became this beautiful sculptural thing. The only problem was it bolted and then grew this giant flower spike, which is very beautiful too. But just if you want to control it, you keep taking the pups off, is what I'm trying to say.
Well, I think I planted from a 4-inch pot and it's been at least 5 or 6 years, and I have one plant that's maybe 6 inches across and a couple of pups that are maybe 2 to 4 inches across. So
Yeah, see, mine got
my
up
lack of
to-
water regime seems to be helping.
Right, but I do lack of water and I let those pup up and crowd because it's a good weed deterrent. And my neighbor doesn't water an area and I've let them go there and she's thrilled because it looks like garbage otherwise. So yeah, I'm just sharing.
Good to know. Thank you.
Okay. So this is a cross that happened in my garden and I was hoping it would be in bigger bloom, but it's not. But I had both Helianthus angustifolius and Helianthus maximiliani. Helianthus coming from the swamps of the eastern coast and Maximiliani coming from the plains. But I actually saw them when I led Cal Hort to New Mexico, growing there in the middle of the desert, kind of little, maybe they watered them occasionally, but I grow them now dry, the Maximiliani. And they don't do as well, by the way, when we have a drought, but they never died, the Maximiliani. But at any rate, the new clone that I have has exhibited unbelievable hybrid vigor. I gave a lot of it away last year. You can't tell at all. Mind you, I do water it. I'm pretty sure this one needs water, but this year I'm going to try it with a piece of it without water. It is a spectacular yellow because Angustifolia is more intensely yellow than Maximiliani, but Maximiliani tends to bloom later. So I think that's why it's putting on this unbelievable show. And I might, if I get my act together, bring some to the October meeting just to share, because I think it's a great performer if you have a little bit of water. This has made it through phenomenally well in the drought. I did cut my watering more than 50% and it didn't die. In fact, it bloomed and was glorious. Okay, so this might look like a crocus, and in fact, until I researched for this talk, this is Sternbergia, which is in the Amaryllidaceae. And I just thought it was cool to have a yellow crocus blooming in the fall, when in fact, I've got a yellow amaryllis blooming in the fall. It grows dry, it's found in the Mediterranean. It does also grow with summer water, which it's important to note that because I have found that certain plants with summer water, you kill them, but this does not. So I thought I'd share that. And then the other one I got from Kathy Eccles years and years, well, before she moved, she let me have one. Well, Kathy was pretty stingy in the early years when she thought she was going to stay there. And she gave it to me as Urgenia maritima, and it's Drymia maritima now. And I always thought this was a South American and that it was in the Amaryllidaceae until I researched for this talk and found out that it is in I think it's in the same thing as the squill family. Scilla family. But I'll tell you, I also thought that if you move, because I thought it was an Amaryllidaceae, and you're not supposed to plant your amaryllis belladonna bulbs when they're in leaf because you won't get a flower. I don't know how true that is anymore either, but that you were supposed to plant them when they were dormant or in bloom and never after they put leaves out. But this one, I was just overwhelmed that I couldn't see it where I put it. So I had my guy do it this winter and we moved it in full leaf, and the leaves are massive, and into this spot, and out of 3, 2 are blooming, this being one of them.
And it hasn't bloomed before? Or?
No, it bloomed before, but I always thought you couldn't move them when they were in leaf.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. So it's spectacular. They do well even in some shade, which makes the white flowers even pop, and they're huge.
Aren't the bulbs sometimes the size of a basketball?
Mine were very large, I would say probably 8 to 9 inches wide. So I reckon for autumn bloom, I think it's great.
Okay.
And then this is Rhodophylla Fiala bifida, which is the oxblood lily. Mine right now are in the water part of my garden that the watering wasn't very good. And they're still multiplying. My first ones were from UC Davis, I went to the plant sale one year, and that's the red. And then Bill the Bulb Baron, who died shortly after, he died during COVID, but he gave a talk to my garden club and had the bulbs. And he said he had a pink form, and this is the pink form from him. It's not really growing like crazy. It's not as vigorous as the red one, but I got it from him. So
And how
there's a
often
pink
do you
form.
water, Kristen?
Well, I'm on a watering regimen of every day for 4 minutes, which I changed from what East Bay Mud told me to do, which was 20 minutes. And I changed it because of a man named Carmine DeVivi. Those of you who went with me to New Mexico met him. We went to his garden. He's dead now, unfortunately. But he told me that we saw his walled garden, which had hosta in it, which blew my mind. And because the humidity in where he was in Corrales was 10%. And he insisted that plants do better if you water them every day with overhead, because they absorb water through their leaves. Now, there were no studies that I saw by then done at the time. This was 20 plus years ago. But as soon as I changed the regimen from 20 minutes twice a week, which is what East Bay Mud told me to do, to 4 minutes a day, which is much less water, the garden became a jungle. Just sharing.
That's telling.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And
it's-
now there have been studies that say that that is the case, that
Is
plants
it
absorb water through their leaves.
so it's spraying into the, like, how far off the ground?
Well, overhead spraying, the way it works usually is that it, some of the head, you have to look at your heads that are using, some of the heads spray straight out and others spray straight up and down, kind of trying to reach the places. And then of course the heads have to reach, the water of the heads have to reach each other so that the drops crash into each other, which then drops the water down underneath. So I would say the highest the water gets, though, is maybe 4 feet high.
Thanks.
And there was for a while out there a theory that watering with overhead spray that acts more like a rain, and I can't remember who did that, but that she watered that way all the time and she got the same results because it was like creating rain or fog. And don't forget, even though the coastal redwoods don't get rain in the winter, they get 10 inches of precipitation as a result of the fog, because the fog accumulates on their leaves and drops down.
Mark, you're up.
Okay, so this is fire lily. I picked it up my last trip down to Santa Cruz Arboretum. The one on the left shows it just opened, and the one on the right has, after several days, on its way out. Haven't seen it set seed yet, but I've had a few flowers.
I have that as well, and it first bloomed the first time this year.
Ah, excellent.
And in the
you-
wintertime, it had a bulb, babiana coming out of it, so I thought that's what the only thing that's left in it.
Did you get it from Bill the Bulb Baron?
I don't know where I got it, and I
Ah.
didn't know what it was, so it was a nice surprise. It's a gorgeous
Oh,
bloom.
well, there you go.
Are you watering it?
Who, me?
Yeah, I am. And I mean, when I got it, the soil was moist. So it's a little disturbing because it says water max is little. So I think I'll have to like wean it off, you know, as soon as it's done. I think the pot I picked out that was for sale had the most bulbs. I mean, it was just packed. And
Where'd
then
you
the
pick this
rest
up?
Oh, Santa Cruz Arboretum.
Okay, so here is Judy's 4 o'clock.
I got this last month at the meeting, and it has a little bit more red in it than I thought it would, but it is an unusual salmon color, so I like it. I haven't grown Mirabilis before because I always thought it was kind of weedy, but I kind of like this color, so I might let it grow. And then this is my Camellia Yuletide, and it's showing this is the first bud. And I want to know, in other parts of the country, does it wait until later into the fall or winter to start blooming? Because it'll start blooming. But I wonder, does anybody else know if in other parts of the country, Yuletide waits to bloom closer to Yuletide?
Well,
Mine does.
I'm thinking it has a long blooming span, and it's blooming during Yuletide. was my thought.
But does yours start in September?
No,
I don't have one.
Oh, okay. Anybody have one? When does it start for you?
mine usually in November.
Hmm. Yeah, see, mine's usually starts in October. This is actually the earliest in September, so
But that doesn't even look like the foliage of a Yuletide.
it is.
Really?
Yeah. It gets a little stressed. It gets a lot of sunlight there.
It
Okay.
thinks it's dying, Judy, so it's giving
No,
out
it's not.
many blooms as it can before it croaks. You know
It's
they
got
do
lots
that.
of buds on it. It's got lots of buds on
That's
it.
what I'm
Judy.
saying.
Is yours in the ground?
Yes.
I cannot grow that in the ground. It drives me nuts.
It's in the right spot. I have to prune it actually kind of hard because it grows so big.
I hate you.
Well, you can grow stuff I can't grow, so there. All right, next. Oh, and we were talking about amaryllis. So the ones on the right are called Amaryllis multiflora hybrids. That's not an official name, but it's the name I got from Dick Doubt from Santa Barbara. He was into hybridizing Amaryllis belladonna with other South African bulbs like Brunsvigia, Crinums, Sebestes, and Nerines. And so I got they were a bag of bulbs is what they were called. And they had little baby bulbs, it had medium bulbs and adult bulbs. And now they've grown up and they're pretty much adult bulbs now. They bloom about 3 or 4 weeks later than the pale pink Amaryllis belladonna that we have. And it's a much deeper pink, so I like it quite a bit.
This the one that Bill the Bulb Baron grew in droves and everything kept changing colors because I've got masses of them now. And
Are they this deep pink?
Oh, I've even got red.
I've had
And
some
do
that
they
from
bloom later?
Bill the Bulb Baron as well, and they do bloom in September,
And
Yeah.
are they blooming later than the other ones?
Yes.
about a month later.
I think that Bill actually did some hybridizing himself. And so he may have done the same thing, or he could have gotten them from this gentleman in Santa Barbara.
Well, actually, I think he got them from Wayne Roderick.
They might have gone around, like I said, I don't know if you have the book, it's called Cape Bulbs that Dick Duat, I guess, from Santa Barbara did, and he did the hybridization.
Is he
But
still
the
alive?
white one I did get from Bill the Bulb Baron,
Is
actually.
Dick Doot from, is he still alive?
No, he's passed away.
But it's called Cape Bulbs. Okay.
Yeah, it was
Okay.
printed in 98, 94, something like that, by Timber Press.
By the way, Ken is also working on that cross.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Must be popular, I guess.
And
Well-
evidently Wayne Roderick did as well. This is
Oh, okay.
from Michael Crabe,
Oh, interesting.
and
Yeah.
he has
Yeah.
all colors blooming as
Wow.
well.
He got him from Wayne, I see.
Yeah.
I actually have some I got from San Lorenzo Gardens many years ago, and they are variety colors also.
Nice
color?
having variety.
I
isn't
have
it?
white, I have deeper pink, I have some, one just came up this year and it's white with a little touch of pink to it. It's kind of pretty.
When I got
And
mine,
they-
it had a huge trunk and it got this big, huge thing of flowers, but now they've shrunk and I don't think I'm as nice to them as Bill the Bulb Baron was to his.
I am not nice at all. In the back corner and they get ignored.
Yeah. And the irony is they grow with or without water and they bloom with or without water. The ones that get water bloom earlier than the ones
Oh.
that don't, but they all bloom.
Hmm.
And they do produce seed. And that's what I find the most interesting because they're intergeneric crosses.
Ah,
And that's not supposed to normally bloom, seed. It's harder for plants to do that. So I find that really interesting.
Is Lorena on?
Hi, I'm here.
Hi.
Well, I finally sent something in. I love the carnivorous plants. They have weathered here in, dear, I have allergies. 100 and they don't like 114 degrees, so you need to cover them because since I've been here, it's been that. And then the ice storm, but they just come back every year. They're pretty amazing. I keep them outside. So I wanted to share how fun they are. And if you look inside of any of the trumpets, there's lots of insects that they catch. And then the sundew on my window, that's been really quite a fungus gnat catcher. So I just wanted to share, put some carnivorous plants in your life. I sure enjoy them.
Your little sundew is cool with the tall flower spikes. Are they, do the flowers open up? It looks kind of like they're budded there, or maybe they're closed for some reason.
They look like they're done.
Well, they could be too. I know, I see a little pink there.
Beautiful. Can I ask a question of Lorena? Do you grow any
Pardon?
butterworts? Do you,
Yes, I do.
do you grow them
have one.
indoors or outdoors?
The butterworts are inside.
Okay, okay. I put mine outside and suddenly it started to do terribly, but Bart says he grows his exclusively outside. So I'm bringing it back in. Thank you, Lorena.
Yeah, bring it back in. I have two tried. I also, there's a lady at a gas station, unusual here, but she sells them, and she showed me a sundew that actually is hardy for outside.
Oh my gosh.
And I think when hers multiplies, she will begin selling them, and especially when I share some of my pitcher plants with her, she she sells them, and if they die, she'll give you another one. It's very cool.
Wow.
I just got my sundew from her, but the carnivorous plants I've got other places.
You know, there is a sundew also that I know where one is that grows up near Swamp Lake in Yosemite, and it's above Hetch Hetchy. So it's probably got another several thousand feet, and it's buried in snow all winter, and it doesn't matter. It's, yeah, on a floating islands in a lake, and
Oh, cool.
they're spectacular. So there are varieties. This is rotundifolia, the one that survives the winter. I don't know what these are. The one that you have is longifolia, I think. Is it?
You mean my
Okay.
Sarracenia?
Yes. No,
Yeah.
not the Sarracenia, the Drosera.
No, yeah, I don't know. I don't remember.
Okay, I think yours is longifolia, but the one I had that grows up in Yosemite has round tips of the leaves, and it's, you know, different but the same.
I'll have to go looking for
Yeah.
that one. That sounds
Yeah.
Thanks, Lorena.
Okay, thank you.
And then Janet, are you still on?
Sorry, I muted myself and stopped my video. Yes, I'm still here. So I went away for a couple weeks the end of August. It wasn't particularly hotter than I mean, we had the really hot period was in July, but this is a ballerina rose that I grew from a cutting. It's been in the ground more than 20 years, and it has gradually spread, and there's several plants there. And that one plant you can see on the right is starting to die back. But then if you go to the next one, this was the real disappointment. This is a flutterby rose, and it just kicked up some heels and died in that 2 weeks while I was gone, which I don't know.
You
I
don't
know
think somebody came and sprayed Roundup on it?
Oh no, there's no way. It could be, I don't know, maybe it's just too old. It's over 20 years old. It had the base of the trunk is probably 4 inches in diameter, and those two shoots you're looking at are at least 2 inches in diameter.
Roses are usually pretty tough, though.
I would think so, but then I was looking at roses, and their lifespan can be 20 to 25 years. So
They are grafted onto rootstock. Remember, you guys had a real lot of rain, and since it's right next to your house, it could have possibly been puddled for a while, and then I don't know.
Thanks, Lorena, but I don't think it's root rot.
No.
The other possibility I can think of is verticillium wilt.
Did you try pulling it up to see what the roots look like?
I have not tried pulling it up, but it's pretty firmly rooted.
Oh, okay. So,
and it's grafted, or did you root it on its own roots?
I believe that the flutterby is grafted. It's a nursery plant I bought 20 plus years ago. So
yeah, so whatever it's growing on is probably going to sprout and be your next rose.
Well, if it doesn't come back, I'm going to dig it out. So
yeah, if it's on its own root, and maybe that was it. I had the first.
I would say it probably came. Lorena, I would say it probably came from Yamagami's.
Uh-oh.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it looks to me like it's heat stress from excessive high heat up against the wall, the reflected heat up against the wall if you had some really high temperatures.
But it didn't die during the high temperature. It didn't even show any stress during the high temperature time. And it's under a trellis. You can see the trellis shadow on the wall.
Did you scratch the bark to see if it was green underneath?
I haven't done that yet.
You
And
should always do that.
I was going to look to see if I see any streaking from verticillium wilt. So I know I have verticillium wilt in the area because I had a huge ash tree probably 20 feet from where this is, and it had verticillium wilt. So
Well, let us know what you find out.
I just wondered if anybody else had ever had that experience in terms of rose longevity or not making it.
Yeah, it is a hybrid, so, you know.
That shouldn't do it.
Yeah, they said hybrid teas don't live as long, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you have any other roses in the area that didn't
I have
react?
lots of roses, and these are the only ones that are showing any problems.
Okay, but there's not one right next door to it.
The one next door to well, you can see to the left of the flutterby, there is a Satsuma orange.
That one
And
right
then to the left of that is a ballerina that where I have a little bit of dieback.
here?
Oh, yeah.
Well, when you dig it up or whatever, let us know what you found out.
I'll tell you what I find.
Okay.
Thank
It
you.
doesn't look like it's coming back. But thank you for
Okay.
your ideas.
Charlotte, are you still on?
I am. Okay, so this is
Wrong.
not the one that just bloomed.
Oh, okay. Well,
This is one I only had a couple of blossoms on that, and that was a cutting I received a few years ago.
okay. Well, this is
I don't know
similar to what you.
It'll
It's also in the.
Is that cerulean? I thought cerulean was all purple. I've
I
never-
don't think that's
Oh,
cerulean.
no, I'm not sure the species on this one. Someone gave
Yeah.
it to me.
I don't have one. My cerulean definitely doesn't have those white banners. So
Yeah.
Okay,
I
well,
have cerulean. It's all blue. Yeah.
Yeah, no, this isn't the one I was talking about. So, what else do you have for me?
I've got this teeny weeny fuchsia and a teeny weeny clematis.
Ah,
Yeah, the clematis, it's smaller blooms, but they're not teeny weeny, not compared to the fuchsia, which is a super, super little. And as you can see, it's kind of really rough and tumble looking thing. I got it from UC Santa Cruz in May, and it was full of leaves then, and then I lost leaves, but now it's sending out new leaves and blooming.
I think we saw this in Chile and it was in the driest spot, obviously in the middle of their summer, and it didn't have anything on it. It looked like a stick.
Oh, yeah, I try to keep it on the drier side, but it's in a container. I've tried growing it before, and it kept it for a couple of years, but never got flowers on it. So this is exciting that I got flowers. But I had seen other fuchsia growers sharing their pictures of it, and of course, in the pictures, you can't always tell the size, and people don't always give you anything to indicate the size. So I was kind of shocked that it was this tiny. And
Well, how
also
tiny is that? Is it an
Um,
inch long? That's pretty tiny. Okay, what is it from here to here?
from this, where the stem starts,
Oh, here?
there, no, right where it bulges out,
Where the ovary is above the ovary, where the petals are?
where the stem and the ovary meet,
Yeah.
up higher,
Oh, up here
there, and all the way to the bottom of the pistil,
is what?
maybe about an inch.
Oh, yeah, that's tiny. Tiny.
For the, yeah, for the whole thing.
Yeah, but you're a member of the Fuchsia Society, as I recall, and you're a fuchsiaholic, so I'm not surprised.
Yeah, but this is not one that's readily available or, has really been seen a lot. It's not the easiest one, I guess, to grow. But I understand that it's supposed to attract a hummingbird, and it's so tiny. I don't know that the hummingbird would find this.
Oh, yeah, they do. Are you
It's
kidding?
way up
oh,
in the-
yeah. Yeah,
They've got
right.
laser vision.
Hello, they do. I agree.
Where it was growing naturally, it was like in the chaparral.
I mean, like they were almost hidden, they were so
And
Maybe-
Charlotte, where did you find this plant?
At UC Santa Cruz.
Thank you. Hey, Mark, I have a question for you.
Hi, Judy.
You know, you gave me a Buophony one time.
Uh-huh.
What does it look like right now? Because the tag got misplaced and I want to make sure that it's the right plant. What does it look like
Oh.
right now? It's Buophony. There's not a Hyacinthioides, is there? Or you got seeds from the guy down in San Diego.
Right. Oh, yeah. No, the seeds he gave me were for the cross between Brunsvigia littoralis and Josephine, which I think is a really great plant because it gets to flowering size in just like 4 years or something.
Wow.
And the spread is as big as the flower is spread as much as it is for Josephine. It's not quite as tall and the scape isn't quite as wide, but almost.
What does it look like right now, though? I mean, does it
Oh.
have like 4 or 5 leaves and just straight up? Are they twisted at all?
You're talking about Buophony, right?
Buophony.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
'Cause I
This
think
time
there's
of year,
some
what
that
does it
are
look like?
some are dormant and some are winter dormant.
Oh, yeah. Well,
So it wouldn't have any leaves right now?
Depends on-
mine have leaves, except for the Hemanthoides.
Mm-hmm.
That one I don't think does. But it's never
That's
bloomed for me either. It's further
Oh.
behind.
Well, I think it takes 7 years, but I have that tag, but it got pulled out by squirrels, I think. So I'm just trying to match it to make sure that I'm matching it with the plant. So that's why I wanted to know what
I
the
could
plant
run
looked
out
like.
and take a look, but I don't think mine has any leaves on it. Do you have that one, Ellen?
I have a couple of Buophonies and I don't know which type I have, so I'm not going to be able to help you.
Distincta is the one that makes the nice fan.
Mm-hmm.
Hemanthoides has got wider leaves, I think. But boy, I don't know. Mine.
But are the leaves twisted, kind of?
Usually they're undulating, kind
I
of.
think so.
They're undulating? Okay.
That sounds right.
All right. Thanks.
I have a map of all my South African bulbs somewhere, but I'd have to dig it up.
Wow.
I planted them.
So you can keep track of where they are
Well, exactly, because
in case you get rambunctious.
Well, when I went down, what's his first name? Blackburn?
Ken Blackford?
Yeah, Ken gave me a ton of bulbs. And I bought plain, so I had to give him half to my friend. But when I actually finally planted them out in a space that I made for him, I actually wrote them down on a piece of paper, which was good.
Have you had luck with them blooming?
Yeah, I got 3 Brunsvigias now and 4.
Oh, wow.
I think it's Brunsvigia littoralis or orientalis. I don't know. Like I said, I need to get my map out. Blooming right now too.
Any red flowers?
Yeah, they're both kind of similar actually. I haven't had all 3 of the Brunsvigias bloom all at once. I think this is the first time for at least one of them, if not 2.
And how many years have you had them, Ellen? Just curious.
I think since the like 2010 or 12, maybe 14.
Wow.
Oh, so 10 years?
That ought to do
probably. And
Oh, wow.
and I think the tags had that they were from seed from
Seeded.
2008.
Oh, my goodness. They do take a long time.
Did that include a Josephine in that lot?
Yeah, I have 3 of those in one spot.
Great.
I don't think I really spaced them out enough, but
And those sit way up out of the soil.
and they don't want any summer water.
Right. Ken did tell me that when it was clear mine was going to bloom, he says you give it water one time, and then
Oh, that's good. Right before they bloom?
or
Or when they're starting to come up?
when they're on the way. Yeah.
Oh.
So would that be like in August or something?
Well, mine has just started blooming not too long ago. Maybe it's been a month now.
Yeah.
Mine was later than yours because I still have one.
Oh.
One's in full bloom, one's kind of halfway there, and the other one is just coming up.
And Bart's mystery bulb, I mean, his one he got from a collector somebody who inherited from a collector down in Southern California. I went over and looked at that thing when it was blooming. It was humongous.
Wow.
The bulb was much bigger than the one I got from Kathy Eccles. Although I'm pretty impressed with the size of that one too.
Those are one of those heritage bulbs where you pass them down to your children.
Right.
You pass it down to
Oh,
their
I think so.
children.
It's like a parrot, right? It'll live forever.
Come on, Saxon.
Hey, guys.
I heard you talk when Ken Blackford was in town. I mentioned it, and we both came to hear it. Ken is like a informed, interested camera person. You know, he takes all those bird photographs, so and plant photographs. So he was way into it.
One of the most fun things I learned when I went to Costa Rica last January is our guide was an avid birder himself, and he set up a spotting scope, and he showed us how we could photograph birds with our iPhone through the spotting scope with phenomenal results. It was just, I was like a kid in a candy shop learning a new trick.
Fun.
The tour group with Pacific Horticulture, they organize it through Sterling Tours, and
Oh, right.
they organize people who have been, who are local. And so
Okay, so if anybody has a garden they would like to share, we love going on garden tours, so let us know. Yeah, we got some good field trips coming up here soon. So if somebody want to plug the Western Hort field trip.
Oh, I don't know a lot about it,
wish.
but what they announced to the meeting, this is Janet, was that Sheena talked to our group at our meeting this week. It's her orchard. It's a you pick orchard, and she'll have fruit for picking, probably apples at this point, and tasting. And then they also have any late summer veggies that will be around that you see there.
Fun.
And you can tour a nursery. They grow. Their nursery is growing plants for farmers. They're not plants for home gardeners, but you can tour the nursery and see their operation if you want. Also, and they have a nice place on the grounds where you can have a picnic.
Is that where you guys
And
having lunch then?
Yes, bring your own lunch.
Yeah.
Bring your
okay.
own lunch, and then and you can always bring something to share if you want. And then after that, Los Arroyos Nursery is close by in Watsonville. So basically you'll be working way back north. And Lionel Morales talked to our group, I think it was last spring, and he used to work for Monterey Bay,
Mm-hmm.
and he's growing a lot of natives, and he talked about his propagation of his natives and how he's doing that. So you'll get a chance to see his operation if you're interested in seeing that too.
And seeing operation, will you be able to buy plants?
That I don't know, because it is a wholesale nursery.
Okay, well, you probably get them at your local nursery, I'm sure.
Right. So yeah, you won't be able, I don't think you'll be able to buy plants either place. I'm
Okay.
not positive about that. You could try emailing Grace and she could let you know. I don't know that.
Okay, well, sounds like fun. And then,
Yeah.
a bunch of people want to come up from up here. You guys want to go together if you need you might be able to connect through CalHort@info if anybody wants to carpool. Maybe if more than one person asks, they can, connect you guys. I don't know. No meeting in October, but we're having 2 field trips on either side of that. So the Saturday before, on the 19th, we're going to go see Manzanitas of San Bruno Mountain. And I guess there's parts of the trail that are on regular asphalt type stuff. And then there's some that's a little bit more climbing, but if you don't want to do the more rugged stuff, you don't have to. I mean, it's $6 per car. I think it's a state park actually. And then if you want to go RSVP, you can, or if you have questions, you can check with Dave. And then the next Saturday on October 26th, we're going to Sonoma Botanic Gardens in Glen Ellen. And they used to be Quarry Hill. We're going to have a tour guide, so they'll be able to show us everything that's happening there. And then they have the new California native plant area. We'll be touring that as well. And Dave is arranging that one as well. So if you have any questions about that, or if you guys want to get together with someone that needs a ride, or if you can drive as well. And so, yes, we were planning a party and we've had some hiccups going on. So we've decided to not have the meeting in October. So we'll have to postpone that for hopefully maybe spring or maybe next fall. We'd like to still do it, but it's not going to work out for October. November's meeting, we have Glenn Phillips, and he's an ornithologist, and he knows his plants. He's in the Arinda Garden Club, and I met him at the event at Ruth Bancroft Garden, where they had all the different societies and garden clubs. And so it is on the 18th rather than the 16th as it is been advertised. I believe it's going to be Zoom, but that may change. But I think it's a Zoom meeting. There's more information coming out about the field trips, so keep an eye out for that. And sounds like we're gonna have a busy October, even though we're not having a meeting. Anyway, thanks for coming. Thank you for
Thank
doing this.
you.
Thanks
Yes,
for running
thank
the
you,
meeting.
everybody. Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Good meeting. Take care, Ellen.